Good afternoon, Buff fans. My name is Max.
And I'm Madelyn, and this is your weekly update on everything CU sports.
Last Saturday, the Buffs took an expected beatdown against the number 8 Oregon Ducks, and it was CU's offensive struggled the entire game, only scoring 1 touchdown and a 44-yard field goal. Jordan Tyson led the team in receiving yards along with scoring the Buffs' only touchdown. The Buffs defense also struggled, allowing 49 points and nearly 300 passing yards. Oregon walked away with a win, with the final score being 49-10.
In its career.
And even more disastrous news for the Buffs, true freshman Jordan Tyson has been reported out for the season after a leg injury in the fourth quarter. The young star is the wide receiver who has been responsible for back-to-back 100-yard games. In the past 2 games, he has scored 2 touchdowns for the Buffs, including the only touchdown scored last week against Boulder. Other than these punts as disappointing, shock to Buff fans, Tyson's exceptional work over the past 2 games assures us that he is a bright future ahead of him in the following seasons. We wish him a restful recovery.
The women's volleyball team lost at home last night against the Oregon Ducks after battling in 5 sets 2-3. There were great performances by Lexi Haderich, who led the team in kills, and Megan Hart with 8 blocks. The Buffs fell short when it came to holding off the Ducks at the net. Despite the loss, the Buffs head coach and Jesse Mahoney said that he thought Colorado played at a high level and the skills and stats were there, but unfortunately not the results. But don't worry, the Buffs will have a chance to avenge themselves when they play Oregon State Saturday at 7 p.m.
Welcome back, Buff Nation. My name is Oliver Hayes, and I'm bringing you this week's edition of Buff Banter. This past Monday, the men's basketball team took care of business in the season opener, beating the UC Riverside Highlanders by a score of 82-66. The Buffs played with great energy the whole night, feeling their aggressive defense and fast-paced offense. Sophomore Lawson Lovering was the key to the Buffs' defense, holding down the paint and contesting any shots near the rim. With a 7-foot defensive presence in the paint, UC Riverside players were hesitant to attack driving lanes when he was in the game. This led to a lot of stagnant possessions for the Highlanders, resulting in contested shots late in the shot clock and 15 total turnovers on the night. When the Buffs snagged a rebound or forced a turnover, they were off to the races, looking to score in transition all night long. However, the Buffs struggled early with the fast-paced offense. There were several times where a long pass was off the mark, either getting picked off or sailing out of bounds. Occasionally, the need to get out and run led to a chaotic possession or a forced shot. But, like the Buffs did all night long, they stayed resilient, pushing through their struggles. When the Highlanders took their first and only lead of the game midway through the first half, the Buffs went on a 16-0 scoring run across the next 4 minutes, taking a 28-15 lead and never looking back. Any attempt at a comeback by the Highlanders was squashed by the Buffs' great defense and transition offense. The Buffs' teamwork and leadership were on full display the whole night, as they had fantastic communication and were more than willing to sacrifice their bodies to snag a loose ball or to attempt to take a charge. The best moment from the Buffs huge night came later in the second half after Javon Hadley got fouled on a shot attempt up 14 points with 7 minutes to go. Sophomore guard KJ Simpson rounded up Hadley and the other Buffs during the dead ball and gave an animated speech to the huddle. Simpson appeared to let the others know that it was time to close out the trailing Highlanders. After this act of leadership, the Buffs went on to keep their double-digit lead for the rest of the game. None other than KJ Simpson sealed the deal for the Buffs, hitting a tough transition layup with a minute left, ending any Highlander chances at a comeback. Along with Simpson, JUCO transfer Javon Hadley shined in the win, recording a team-high 16 points and 8 rebounds. The bench also performed well, with the new addition Jalen Gabadon scoring 12 of the bench's 32 points. On the night, the Buffs will face off against the 1-0 Grambling State Tigers in less than an hour on ESPN+. Tip-off is set for 6 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. Thanks for listening to this week's edition of Buff Banner. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Oliver. That tune-up tonight against the Tigers gets the Buffs ready to head to Nashville on Sunday afternoon to take on the Tennessee Volunteers in a neutral site game that is far from neutral. The game will be held at the Bridgestone Arena and will conclude a 3-game set between the two teams. The Vols took the first two meetings, winning last year in Boulder 69-54, but the Buffs will be looking to make an early season statement this year and prove that this young team can compete with anybody. Tip-off of that game will be on Sunday at noon, and the game will be televised on ESPN.
The CU women's basketball team kicked off their season Monday with a dominant 85-55 win against New Mexico State. One of the biggest concerns for the Buffs heading into this season was how are they going to replace the production of Maya Hollingshed in the front court, but reigning Pac-12 Sixth Player of the Year, Quay Miller, quickly put those worries to bed. Miller finished the game with 22 points and 17 rebounds, scoring with efficiency in the paint and also showing her touch on the perimeter, knocking down both of her three-point attempts. The Buffs will look to continue the momentum into tomorrow at the Events Center against Jackson State. Tip will be at 2 p.m.
On the topic of basketball, recruitment is rolling for the next season. Believe it or not, Tad Boyle is turning Colorado into a desirable team to be on, especially with the addition of Cody Williams, a five-star recruit. According to ESPN, he is the 14th best high school player in the country. Wow, what a recruit. That actually made us think of this week's trivia question. We wondered, how many five-star recruits has CU ever gotten? Don't go away, we'll get that answer to you right after the break.
Last week, soccer wrapped up with their season with a draw as they tied Utah 2-2. After going down by one early in the first half, the Buffs quickly rallied as senior and team leader Savannah Coleman quickly answered with a header within 1 minute of conceding the first goal. The Buffs were hopeful to close their season finale with a win after going into the half with a 2-1 lead, but after conceding another goal and failing to find the back of the net in the second half, the Buffs ultimately ended the game knotted up at 2-2 in a rather disappointing close to the season.
What a season Coleman has had too. She finished second in the Pac-12 in both points and goals. We're really going to miss her, but I can't wait to watch her on the U.S. women's national team.
Agreed. And in the end of the Buffs finished their season at 8-7-5 with a conference record of 2-6-3. The Buffs will lose 7 seniors, including Kaylee Webb, Savannah Kuhlman, and Hannah Cardenas. While the season is always short, we at Sko Buffs Sports are counting on the days until the next season opener.
The tennis team ended their fall season with a matchup against the CSU Rams last Sunday. After some close competition with 3 split single matches, the Rams pulled away. They ended up beating the Buffs 4-3. That's all for the tennis team in the fall, but they'll be back for more on January 20th for the spring season.
The women's lacrosse team stayed busy during their off-season with hosting a banquet, 7 weeks of practice, a scrimmage with Northwestern, and an alumni game. After a disappointing spring season, head coach Ann Elliott Whitten wanted to establish a strong foundation for the team before the spring season approaches. Although coach stated that she is proud of the hard work in the off-season, the team still has more ground to cover before the season starts.
The CU Club women's hockey team will be playing their last 2 home games of the semester this weekend. After a 4-2 loss versus Jamestown last weekend, they take on the 12th-ranked Grand Canyon on Saturday and Sunday. The two teams played 2 games earlier this year in which each team won each game. After Thanksgiving, CU plays 2 road games to the end to the schedule for this first semester. Could a spot in the top 15 be in the cards by this point? It will be up to the team to answer that question.
In the D1 men's club hockey team has slowed down since their epic win against Missouri State, falling to Central Oklahoma twice at home 2 weeks ago and then falling to Missouri State twice this past week. On the road is not an ideal way to follow a 4-0 start in the conference play. It doesn't get easier for the men's hockey team as they play the top team in the country at home. University of Nevada, Las Vegas comes into this week as the #1 team in the ACHA for the second consecutive week. It will be a tough ask for CU to pull an offset, but anything is possible in sports. So check out our YouTube channel at Sko Buffs Sports for select games.
Who's the biggest Buff fan here?
Me! That guy. Sko Buffs! Go Buffs, baby! We're all about the Buffs! Sko Buffs! They can't contain us. We're the best. We can't be stopped. Sko Buffs! Sko Buffs! Sko Buffs!
Whew, is it hot in here? I think that must mean it's time for rapid fire. I'm Zoe Paulson, and caution, this segment will be hot. First up, the football team will play later tonight in Southern California at 7:30 p.m. USC is ranked number 8 in the country, so this game might be a dumpster fire for the CU Buffs. Moving on, the women's basketball team will take on Jackson State on Saturday at 2 p.m. Quay Miller was on fire during the season opener earlier this week, so head over to the CU Event Center to see it again, Buffs fans. Later that day, the volleyball team will take on Oregon State at 7 p.m. The Buffs' record is 16-9, so we can expect some blazing plays against the 7-18 Beavers. And finally, men's basketball brings the SEC to Boulder to play Tennessee on Sunday at noon. After the sizzling start to the season for the Buffs, fans can expect a red-hot matchup there. And that's all I've got for you today. Have a fiery weekend.
Somebody call the fire department, because that was hot. Thanks, Zoe. Now we know you haven't forgotten about the trivia question, and don't worry, we haven't either. Remember, we asked you, how many 5-star recruits has CU ever gotten? Are you ready for the answer? It's 1. And his name is Cody Williams. That's right, ever since the modern ranking system has been in place, Williams is the highest ranked player the Buffs have ever gotten. The system began in 2007, so there have been many players that were better than Williams, like Chauncey Billups, for example. But alas, Williams is the only one who has had the honor of bearing the title of 5-star recruit.
In fact, we are so excited about Cody Williams, we have wanted to show you a highlight reel of everything we have to look forward to next year. This is this week's Tweet of the Week. Slam High School Hoops posted this video with the caption, 5-star Cody just committed to Colorado. Let's check it out. And that is all for this week's installment of Sko Buffs Sports. My name is Max.
I'm Madelyn.
And we'll see you next week. Sko Buffs!